Hello, everyone. My name is Marius Tănescu, and I want to say welcome to this new podcast. Today, we are going to talk about gold mining, and not only gold mining, but gold mining on blockchain technology, a new technology that we are going to learn more about today. But I'm very excited the fact that my special guest today is an American entrepreneur with an amazing success in gold mining, and also he's a TV star. Discovery Channel was following him in a jungle to see how he's mining, and they were expecting one of him or his partner to die. And that's why I want to ask a few questions. And I want to say welcome, Scott Lomu, to this podcast, and I'm excited to have you here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here, and I love telling the story of what we're doing because I think it resonates with so many people, and what we're trying to accomplish using, when I was in the mining space and I was out there mining, I didn't think I would ever be able to use those experiences to help other people. But crazy with this whole blockchain and the new technology that's developed, I get to take that experience and help other people get involved, but in a much safer way without having to go to the West African jungles and get shot at. So, but
Yeah, of course.
thank you, Maurice. I appreciate you having me on.
My pleasure. Of course, we are going to talk a little bit about your experience in the jungle, what you learned from there, and but one of the most important thing that I we want to understand from you is the problem that exists in the gold mining because I understand that it's a huge problem, and the blockchain is the solution, and we want to understand that. And of course, if somebody wants to be part of the solution, there is a way to do it. Uh, Tell us a little bit about your story in the jungle.
Sure. Sure. I was a real estate guy out here, did a whole bunch of real estate. And then back in '08, out here in the United States, when the real estate market crashed, we were looking for something else to do. And I've ran into a group that was out buying gold. They were attempting to buy large quantities of gold and just bring it to the United States, refine it a little bit, and then sell it. And so I'd heard about this group that was doing that. And so I grabbed my partner that I did real estate with, and I said, "Hey, listen, these guys are flipping gold, and they're going to make a lot of money. Let's go do it too." So we were just dumb. We just gathered up what little money we had left because we had lost so much in real estate, and we just jumped on a plane and went to Ghana in West Africa.
Mhm.
But very quickly, we learned that these gold deals, they were scams. In fact, the group that had told us about it got scammed for $2.5 million,
Wow.
because all these guys out there. There's a lot of kind of nefarious guys out there that are taking advantage of these people who don't know anything about the gold industry. And so it was actually a taxi driver said, "Don't do these deals. They're scams. If you want to make money, the only way to make money in gold is to go mine it yourself." So we took the money that we were going to go buy gold with and just bought mining equipment and started mining, having no experience, had never done it. We just partnered
Wow.
up with a local who knew how to get the land. We bought some equipment we thought was right, rented some excavators, and just started mining. And we had been doing that for about a year. And at the time, there was a really popular show on Discovery Channel called Gold Rush. It was getting really high ratings. And somebody had tipped off the people that make that show that there's these two idiots from Utah that were out in Ghana trying to gold mine. So they sent a guy out, and he just said, "Listen, don't do anything that you wouldn't normally do. Pretend I'm not here. Me and my camera crew, we're just going to follow you guys." So that's what we did. For 1 week, we just did everything that we normally did, and the guys were just behind us with a camera. And then, like you alluded to, at the end of the week, they sat down with us and they said, "Listen, we have filmed all over the world. We have filmed everything you can think of, but I have never seen what I just saw this last week. We're confident one of you is going to die, and we would love to
Wow.
be here to film it. Welcome to Discovery Channel." And it was longer process than that, but eventually we ended up on Discovery Channel, and we started mining, and they got to document what we were going through in real time as we were going through it. And the other one of the good things that came out of that is that all of the problems that are wrong with the mining world are heavily documented. People can go and they can see it, and they can understand And that's really what we're trying to do is to let people understand the problems that exist in the mining world because nobody knows. It happens far away, way out in the jungle. Nobody understands what's actually happening and how you get gold and silver and all these things. And so this creates a
Before
really good platform for us.
before we are going to talk about the problem, how the reality show end up?
Yeah.
What happened?
So season one, we got robbed on camera. Guys came, they robbed us, fired some shots in the air, and that ended the season because the camera crew was like, "Okay, we were just joking about one of you dying, but one of you might die." So we ended season one with a robbery, and it's all you can see it. It's all on camera. It all happened in real time. So then we came back and Discovery Channel said, okay, if we're going to do this again, we need some security. So they had a bunch of British SAS, former SAS guys on the camera crew. We increased the size of the camera crew. And so we went back out, we started mining again. And this time, what happened was while we were filming season two, season one was airing in Africa. And the people in Africa, mostly like government officials, they didn't like what they were seeing because we were putting a big flashlight or a big spotlight on the bad mining practices that were happening. There's a lot of illegal foreign miners there. And everybody on social media, they're watching the show going, how did all these foreign miners get into our country? Why are we being exploited? Why is our government officials doing this to us? And so the people in Ghana, they thought that what we were filming was happening live, or at least some of them did, because they would show maps of where we were mining. Now we had moved. Season one was over here, season two was over here. But season one is airing live, and the people there thought it was that's where we still were. So this militia showed up to our old site that was now operated by some Chinese miners, about 17 men wearing camouflage AK-47s. They showed up and
Wow.
they started shooting and they robbed all the gold, but they were looking for us. We were 1 mile down the road. So this is season two. And so we had already filmed about 7 or 8 episodes. And word came, they said, hey, there was a robbery at your old site. We think they're after you guys. So they said, come back to our compound. Discovery Channel had a bunch of houses and some stuff they'd rented, but we went back to the house and then we turned on the news and we're all over the news. The government issues arrest warrants for two American miners filming the reality TV series Jungle Gold. So we had to sneak out of the country.
Wow.
And all of this is on camera too. And so that part of it ended really bad because having the camera crews exposed us to the corruption of the government. They chased us out. They issued fake, arrest warrants. The arrest warrants were real, but the charges were fake. But in that 2 year period, now we were there for a total of 4.5 years. But in that 2 year tumultuous period with Discovery Channel, they didn't like what we were showing on TV
Yeah.
because now the secret in the mining world was out. But the mining itself, we did well, not on camera, but before the cameras got there and after the cameras left, we had a good mining operation. We were
Mhm.
getting about a half a kilo a day. It was a small operation. It was just me and my buddy and a few locals. But half a kilo a day was good, right? Because at the time I think a kilo was like $40,000 for a kilo because the price had gone up. And so we're doing pretty good, but yeah, the fact that we exposed a lot of these bad mining practices got us thrown out. Now we've been back since, and they were that was just the government's way of kicking us out and taking the cameras with us.
Got it. Yeah. What did you learn from that experience?
Oh man, innumerable lessons. Okay, but first and foremost, I learned that there's a lot of nasty things happening in the mining world. People are being exploited, the environment's being destroyed. But I also learned that the people of Ghana, they're the innocent victims. They're being exploited by the government, by foreign miners. And, I also just learned a lot of perseverance. I learned that you can take a really bad experience because for us with the cameras there, it was a really bad experience. We got shot at, because when you have a big camera crew, you're a target. We'd have like three cars following us everywhere we went with a bunch of white people. So we stuck out like a sore thumb. But so we had a lot of adversity because of the camera crew, but we learned that you can overcome it. That something positive, the biggest takeaway for me is that something really positive can come from something very negative and very even traumatic. Because if you go watch, in fact, I have, let me see here. Um, here's my, I've got the DVD set.
Yep.
I keep trying to get my kids to watch it. They've never seen it. But I've learned most importantly that you can take any terrible negative situation and turn it into something positive. Because I was
Okay.
gone a lot. I was gone for filming was 4 months each time, and I was away from my wife and kids. And I remember just hoping, praying, you know, please, let me do something where I can be with my family and earn a living and do some, and then the blockchain pops up and all the things I had hoped for have all been realized and fulfilled because not only can we help solve some of the problems that I saw, which I'm sure we'll talk about, but able to do it in a way that allows us to bring in the masses and to really have an impact on all the bad things that are happening out there.
Are those issues or problems that you saw in Ghana like a general thing all over across mining,
Yeah.
or is just a local thing?
No, nope. This is happening all over Africa, all over Central America, all over South America. And it's not all mining. There are big public companies who are mining and trying to do it the right way, obviously, because they're multi-billion dollar companies. And if they go hire, women and children, slave labor, or if they destroy the environment, they're going to get shut down. But there's a massive percentage of all the mining that's happening that's very destructive to humanity and to the environment. And I would estimate that's about 25 to 30% of all mining is done in a really horrific manner using terrible methods, using mercury, using child labor. It was a big problem with cobalt too in other parts of Africa to where it's the majority of the cobalt, and you have to have cobalt to have rechargeable batteries. So any sort of phone or electric vehicle, cobalt is critical. But most of the cobalt was being harvested with basically slave labor, paying them, pennies to do it, having children in the mines. And so the big spotlight that we're able to that really started with us. It started with Jungle Gold, where people were like, wait, this is what happens in the mining world. There had been a few documentaries, but really nothing on a platform like Discovery Channel where we're able to show all the terrible things that were happening.
I heard you saying a couple of times that people might think is not their problem.
Yeah,
How me, that I don't have anything to do with mining, I have a problem with that. Let's
that's
put
right.
it that way.
Yeah, we all use the products that are a result of mining, whether it's your computer, your phone, your car. We just take it for granted. But because we demand and there's the whole world has this insatiable appetite for electronics and now with electric vehicles, but we don't take the time to think, what is my desire to have two computers and a phone and an electric cars? Where are all these
And also
materials?
jewelry.
Jewelry, exactly. Every piece of jewelry you have. If the consumer demanded that these things were harvested ethically, then they would be mined ethically. But because we don't make that demand, either do the manufacturers of these of jewelry miners, nobody cares because we're not making a big issue of it. Now, something like this happened years ago with blood diamonds. A few celebrities heard about blood diamonds and they said, "Oh, you mean this diamond that I'm wearing might be harvested by some sort of warlord and harvested by children." And so a few people came out and they're like, "Hey, you better stop buying diamonds because it might be harvested by children." And then everybody panicked, right? Everybody said, "Oh no." And they came up with the Kimberley process. The UN got involved, 82 nations all contributed, and they came up with a verification process called the Kimberley process. And it has helped, but it's a paper process and it can be faked. If you go into a jewelry store and ask for their Kimberley report, most of them won't have it. And so we are trying to do the same thing that happened 21 years ago with diamonds with the rest of everything else. And there's a lot of other people doing it. There was a great book called Cobalt Red, where the guy went to the Congo and showed, well, this is what's happening with cobalt. And so we need to let people know. It's our job to let people know this is what's happening and this is a part of it because it's all documented on this show, is to say you need to be aware of the problem. And once you're aware of the problem, you can never just be complacent anymore. You need to have a voice. You need to let other people know. You need to demand that these things are harvested ethically.
It's not only that you need to be aware of the problem, but you need to be aware of you might be part of the problem.
That's right. We all of us are. Every one of us. I didn't call Apple and demand that the cobalt or the silver or anything in these phones was harvested ethically. But if we did, they will listen. Because if they knew that the consumers would stop buying or only buy from places who can prove provenance, that it was ethically harvested, they're going to do it the right way. Will it make it a little bit more expensive? Maybe. But we need to understand that the bottom of the supply chain of all of these components that go into the things that we buy and wear is tragic. And there's too much of that supply chain is children. It's environmental destruction and it's corruption at a governmental level. And so we have to start with us. Every one of us has to demand that these products that we have ethical sourcing and ethical tracking. And that's where we can all be a part of the solution with through blockchain.
How did you get into blockchain and you realize that blockchain can help the
Yeah.
industry to solve the problem?
So some friends of mine had been using blockchain in other industries, and they had started it in finance, they had started it in healthcare, and when they explained to me, they said, "Hey, how can blockchain help in the mining industry?" And I said, "What is blockchain?"
Mhm.
And they had to describe it to me, and basically they just dumbed it down for me in a way that I can understand about verification and on-chain actions and how the data that you put on the blockchain can't be faked, it can't be changed, and it's a way for information to be secure. And anyway, they just explained it in very simple terms. And as soon as I got the basic concept, and I said, oh, well, if we were to certify the origin of these things that are mined and put it on chain, then the miner could sell to the wholesaler and all that information is verified. And the wholesaler can sell to retailers and then retailers can sell to consumers. And we can know the supply chain, we can know the origin, you can know the history, you can know everything about it. You can put all this information on chain. And so now when consumers come and they say, "Hey, I demand to know that these diamonds or this gold or silver wasn't harvested by a warlord or by a corrupt government, that I need to know the provenance so that I feel comfortable buying these products." And that's a big heavy lift for us is to make sure that the consumers demand that, but the blockchain allows it to happen. The blockchain allows information to be put on chain to create what we call a trustless society, a trustless way of doing business to where you don't have to take the word of somebody. You know that if it's on chain, that that information is reliable, that it cannot be faked. And then there's the other good side of it, which is there's something in it for people who get involved with blockchain. But so yeah, I didn't know anything about blockchain. I had heard about Bitcoin and how that was kind of the first use case of blockchain. But once I was told that blockchain is going to be in every industry, I thought, oh yeah, of course it is. And the biggest industry that it needs to be in is the mining industry. It's the jewelry business. And so that allows us to be able to use this new technology to prove the origin and to track and trace all along from the mine all the way to the consumer that these products, that these elements are being harvested ethically. And,
Yeah,
and it's good for the business too, right? It's good for if you are approved, if you are putting all your data on chain, it's good for the good guys and it's bad for the bad guys. Just like happened with the diamonds, most of the illegal diamond mining ended because they couldn't prove through the Kimberley process that they were one of the ethical diamond miners. And the guys that got behind it were all the guys who were doing good, like De Beers. De Beers wanted the Kimberley process because they were the big guys who were doing it the right way. And they wanted to eliminate all of the riffraff and all the people who were doing it in a harmful and illegal way. And we're basically trying to do the same thing, but using blockchain, which is so much better than a paper process.
is that going to raise the price? Let's say I choose to buy gold verified by blockchain compared
Yeah.
with not verified illegal way? Is that going to be a big?
No, I don't think so because the mining is just going to go from the guys who are doing it illegally to the guys who are doing it the right way. And so the price should stay the same. We're just trying to get the bad guys out to stop doing it. And if it means more business to the bigger guys, great. Maybe it even gets cheaper. That part of it is hard to tell whether it will get more expensive or cheaper. But as long as the need for mining will always be met, whether it's being met by the bad guys. And right now, because the gold price is so high, all the bad guys are back. If you go back to Ghana right now, all the illegal miners, there's too much money in it, right? And so all these guys are back. And so you have to start at the source. You have to say, these guys are the good guys because they're blockchain certified. And that's what we do. We certify mines on the blockchain. We give them a little emblem, a badge for their website to say that they're blockchain certified. But all that doesn't matter if the consumer doesn't demand it. And so that's why I always go back to the individual and say, we are part of the problem. Now let's be a part of the solution.
Yeah, that's a big lift. It's a big
It's heavy. Yeah, it's like
heavy.
trying to boil the ocean. It's a heavy lift, but it's happening. It's happening and there is definitely a movement that we're right in the middle of to where people are making these demands. Because once you expose it and once you show it, it's hard to forget it. That's why whenever I do my presentations, I show the pictures of the kids in the mine. I show the pregnant women in the pit. I show them using mercury. I have filmed it personally on my phone right here. I have video of the people using mercury and mixing it by hand and spitting it out of their mouth. And so we have to get that message out there in a big way so that people understand, oh my gosh, I had no idea. Because most people don't know. Most people have no idea. They take it for granted. They just go to
Yeah, yeah.
the store and buy their electronics and don't even think about where it came from.
Then to understand correctly, Element United, the company that is a blockchain project for mining industry, is working on two directions. One aspect is to educate the community or educate people that they want to take this mission, if you want, to buy ethically, to buy from a mine that is mining ethically. And on the other side, you are working directly with the miners, correct?
That's right. Yeah, we work directly. Yeah, we're working. If you don't start at the source, then because all the information, the data has to get put on chain, you have to have reliable data. And the only way to get that is with no middlemen in the middle. You have to deal directly with the mines and get them to agree. Or the big thing that we're working on right now is we're trying to get in front of a few presidents of a few countries that have a lot of mining right now. And we're working with one of our partners that owns mines in Kenya and in Tanzania, and he has personal relationships with both of the presidents. And so he's going to be face to face with them in October, and we're going to try to be a part of that meeting. If we can get the presidents of these countries to agree, not only is it a big win for them politically that they're trying to do the right thing for their country, but it would be great for Element if it's mandated that all of their actions are on chain. If we can do that and they can prove themselves that their countries are part of the good guys and not part of the countries that are exploiting the land and exploiting their people, that would be a big win for us. Right now, we're working with like one of the main companies. We're working with a company that does software for mining companies. And so they have a bunch of companies that they're working with, and we're working with them to just have these direct access to a lot of these mines. But really, you have to do these deals with mines that are part of the problem, right? And sometimes the mines who are part of the problem, they don't want to jump on board. And so then you switch your tactic and then work with the mines who are already doing it right, so that we can advertise for them and say, listen, you guys are the good guys. Let's put an emblem on your website and explain, put a link on there that shows what it means to be blockchain certified, to have your information on chain, and hopefully that helps you guys to bring in more customers because we need to replicate what happened in the diamond world, where the bad guys just went out of business because if you can't verify where the diamond came from, nobody wants to take the risk that they're buying a blood diamond. We're creating the same momentum with everything else. It's not just gold and silver, but it's everything that's going into electronics as AI increases and the need for these chips. Like the demand for all of these things that are mined, especially rare earth minerals, is just getting bigger and bigger. So we need to ride that same momentum before it gets out of hand and say, yes, we need all of these components that are in the ground. We don't want to give up jewelry or we don't want to give up, electronics, but let's do it the right way. And so if we can get all of these mines to get on board, the goal is let's eliminate the bad guys because people refuse to buy from non-certified mines and let's promote the good guys. And maybe we make a shift like that. Maybe we make a huge shift, but it takes all of us to be a part of that solution because we need to make demands on these companies that say, I only want to do this ethically.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about blockchain, how exactly this is working and integrated with the mining.
Yeah. And so we have a series of products that we create. One of them is Straya, which is a mining certification. And so with the mine, let's start at the mine. And so there's several things that blockchain can do in the mining industry, but we'll just start with the basic. So we certify a mine, and certifying a mine, they have to go through certain criteria. And the criteria can be a little bit stringent at times, but we just start with the pledge. And the pledge is we'll have a reclamation plan for the environment. We'll pay a fair wage. We won't hire children. We'll have our mining permits. We'll have everything in legal. That data goes on chain, right? And so we create basically a badge or an emblem or an NFT that contains that data that these people have been verified, that we've done a site inspection, that they've made commitments, and then eventually it'll go up into higher tiers like bi-monthly on-site inspections, and there'll be a lot more data that goes into it. In the beginning, to make it easy for these mines to agree to work with us, we have to make it easy. And the way we do that is it's free and it's the requirements to get started aren't that difficult. So if you look at our tier one pledge, it's basically I'm not going to hire slaves, children, I'm not going to destroy the environment, and that's great. That starts. Now in time, to renew the NFT, there'll be a charge for us to renew it, but hopefully they see benefit in that NFT, showing them as one of the good guys. They're on our registry. We're building the registry now. We're certifying the first mines now. And so hopefully that registry has value and people go, oh, I'm part of the Straya registry through Element United. But all of that data, all the commitments that they make, all the on-site inspections, all that data, if it's in the form of an NFT, all that data is in the NFT so that people can access that data. They know it's on chain, they know it's been verified. Um, the second part of that is once the gold comes up out of the ground, you can track and trace the origin of, let's call it gold, from the origin to a wholesaler to a retailer to the customer. All that information can be done, the supply chain can all be done on chain so that it didn't get sold to a third party guy that mixed it with a bunch of illegal gold. And there are some obviously logistical issues that come with that, especially with gold that's typically all put together into one big, supply. But the blockchain, as a part of a supply chain, there are a lot of supply chain solutions that are now on chain, allow us to track from the origin all the way to the consumer. And then blockchain also opens up different markets because it allows us to tokenize in-ground assets. We get calls from mines every month, multiple mines that say, "Hey, create a token for me. I don't want to mine. I want to keep it in the ground." And that's great because now you can extract value from the ground without ever putting a shovel in the ground. We can tokenize the in-ground asset, create a token that's on the blockchain that is attached to in-ground assets, and those in-ground assets are verified, whether it's through satellite technology or a 43101, which is a mining verification. But all that data is now on chain that supports the value of the token.
How safe
And
is
so,
that for a consumer? Like, let's say I'm buying an
yeah,
NFT that I hold gold in that mine somewhere. How safe is that for somebody that doesn't understand the concept
I
of
think
blockchain?
I think it's the safest thing you could possibly do because the gold is still in the ground. Nobody's going to go up there with a shovel and try to pull it up and take it, but it is verified. There are other tokens that are backed by physical gold that's in a vault, and that's great for liquidity purposes. If you wanted to, turn in your tokens for the physical gold, that's great. But a lot of companies are doing kind of a hybrid. They're going to tokenize the in-ground gold, and as they start mining, they will back the digital token with the physical gold that's come up out of the ground for liquidity purposes. But as far as safety, I think the most secure place you can ever have gold is in the most secure vault of all, which is the ground,
Yeah.
because it takes dozens of people and millions of dollars of equipment and a lot of time to pull it up out of the ground. But as long as that token has value, then that's great. Keep it in the ground as long as you can and keep it secure. It's that's the most secure place that you can do it. And so there's a lot of tokens out there that are backed by in-ground gold, and that's the beauty of blockchain because now people are starting to see value. Now, and again, because it's a new concept, that there's good and bad with that. It's good because you're getting in early, and people that have tokenized a coin represented by in-ground gold, they're getting it really cheap. Like, so one of the companies we talked to, they have $1 billion worth of gold, but they just want to do $100 million on the token so that you basically already have a 10 to 1, right? So it's backed by the entire $1 billion, but they printed only 100 million worth of coins so that if they ever needed to go dig it up, you've got a 10 to 1 basically representation. And then there are different issues, right? There are securities issues. We don't get involved with the security part. Our involvement is just with the tokenization of the in-ground asset. And then some of these tokens will actually be on the Element chain. And so
Mhm.
we've had some pretty high level meetings with quite a few of these mines. The only bottleneck in that is because the information that you put on chain is sacred, it has to be accurate. We don't want to talk to any company that doesn't have a very thorough asset evaluation. Proven what is in the ground. Did you do drill holes? Did you test? And so everybody wants to do it, right? Hey, I have a mine. Let's make a token. Well, no, you got to take this blockchain seriously. The data that we have that we're putting on chain must be accurate because if the data that you put on chain isn't accurate, then nothing on chain is accurate. So we go through a very thorough vetting process of what we'll put on chain, and you have to have test results. It has to be proven, and that usually takes a long time and costs a lot of money. But this is the future. This is where things are going. Everybody has already seen the value of creating a token that is backed by in-ground asset because it's a lot cheaper and faster to get to that point and still have value in a digitized token that's backed by a real world asset.
If somebody wants to be involved in what you do with Element United, what would be the best way to
Buy a
participate?
node, so a blockchain is run on different computers, all over the world. It's a decentralized verification model. And so if I were to buy what we call a node turns my computer into a functioning part of the Element blockchain. And so buying a node allows you to be a part of the solution because all of our products are on chain, meaning our node is a software download. It's going to borrow your computing power. Now your computer is part of the Element blockchain, and all the transactions that are happening on chain, your computer is a part of that action. All the information that's verified, your computer is a part of that action, and it doesn't have to be your own computer. You can put it on a server somewhere, but being a part of the solution, it comes with rewards when you enter into the blockchain space. So if
But
you have
being
a
part of the solution is also having ownership into the project. Is
yes.
that correct?
Exactly. Yes. So a blockchain, so I don't own Element United. The owners of Element United are the people that run the nodes. And I'll get to a couple cool things that has to do with, but this is a community run project. When you have nodes, you have voting power. If there's a certain direction you want to take, or if there are certain initiatives that we're going to take as a company, you have a vote in all of those decisions because you are part of the community. And so you not only do you get ownership in the decision-making process, but we have assets. We own parts of gold mines. And so if you want to be a part of a gold mine owner in a fairly direct way, own a node in the Element blockchain because we have contracts where we own parts of some of the mines out in Tanzania. We've got
How many? How many mines?
so we own right now. So there's a company that we have ownership in called Tanzrock, and there's many mines owned by Tanzrock out in Tanzania, where the partner is some government officials, high level government officials. We own 2% of that entire company, and that encompasses multiple gold mines. And so just that relationship with Tanzrock alone has ownership in multiple gold. It's mostly gold out there in many gold mines. And then we own part of a granite mine, two other gold mines, a jade mine. We have ownership. And the way we got that ownership is that early on, we traded nodes for ownership in these mines. And some of the mines won't do anything. Some of the mines are going to be extremely productive. One of the mines is getting verbal offers from a very big mining company right now. When that sells, that money comes into the company, and that money doesn't go to Scott. That money goes to run the company and it's owned by the node owners. And so there's a lot of benefits that come from being a node owner. Not only the daily distribution of the ELMT token. So if you're running a node, you get tokens put into your wallet every single day. And so you're going to benefit from being a part of the solution. And that token that you get from being a part of the Element blockchain, uh, we're building utility. A lot of things can be done with that token, like buying carbon credits or all the products that we have. I know a lot of people that run a node, they do it because they want to get the daily distribution of the ELMT token because they hope that it's worth a lot someday. I think we all hope that. We don't make any claims that it's going to be worth X or anything or how much value it's going to have because that's a product of the market. We don't control any of that. We don't say, hey, buy node and you're going to get rich. We don't say that. We say buy node and be rewarded for being a part of the solution. And so when you get these digital rewards, you want to be able to do something with those digital rewards. And so what we're building is utility with that element token. What can I do with the element token? If it's only sitting there in hopes that the value goes up, then we have failed. Now, could that happen? Could the element token be worth a lot someday? Yeah, of course it can. If in the right conditions, if there's a lot of utility, if a lot of people want that token and are going into the market to buy that token so they can spend it on things, then sure, the token has potential to do a lot
Can
of
you
things.
give us some examples of utility?
Sure, absolutely. And so
Because that's
we,
very important to understand. Like a lot of people, they have like misunderstanding about different blockchain projects because let's be honest, a lot of them they don't have real utility. There are all kinds of fake coins or coins or projects that they even say from the beginning on their description that this project doesn't have any utility. But
that's
we are
right.
talking here about a real problem, a real issue in the world that Element United is coming and it's solving a problem, a
That's
issue,
right.
and there is a lot of like we know as entrepreneurs that if you want to be part and let's be have success in something, you find a problem and find a solution for that problem, and the
That's right.
success is going to follow, right? And that's
That's
why we
exactly
are
right.
talking for so long to understand the problem that exists in this industry and also to show that there is a solution. And if you are part of this solving, the success might gonna show up, right?
Yeah,
And
that's exactly right.
that's why I want to understand the utility that you see that is like you are working right now on the things that are working already, and also the future things that you are planning to do.
That's right. Excellent question. And so, and I like how you kind of, went back to, if you believe in the that there are big problems. So, and here's how we start. There are massive problems that need to be solved. We need to let people know about those problems. We need to let them know that new technology exists so that they can be a part of the solution by running a node and receiving the digital reward. And then what do you do with the reward? Okay. So the
Exactly.
first thing we thought was a natural thing to do was buy gold and silver with the element token. And so on our website, elmt.store, we offered gold and silver and we sold out. It went fast. People were trading in all of their ELMT tokens that they got from their nodes for gold and silver. And then gold and silver went crazy. It went up. And so
Let,
people bought, bought, bought,
let
bought,
me
bought.
just say that again, like in Rome English,
Yeah,
because that's it's phenomenal. Like you have a node, the node is generating some tokens because you support the technology, right? As a reward, you get some tokens, and you can use those tokens to buy silver and gold. This is what they
Exactly.
did, right? But you are sold out right now.
Yeah, we sold out right now, but we're just partnering up with Osmint to get us more of a supply.
That's
Because you have to
insane.
make sure that the gold and silver you're buying is also ethically sourced. And so we had hundreds gold, silver coins that gone, right? I mean, and it was great. It worked out great for the people because then gold and silver took off. And so we will be resupplied shortly with gold and silver. And so that'll be back up on our website. And so that will always be the biggest use case for us is to buy ethically sourced gold and silver using the token. Okay. And then there's
That's
other
huge.
things that
That's
we're
huge.
working on. That's huge. Yeah, that's a big one. And we proved that it works because it sold out so fast. One of the other big things, and so we kind of run down two different lanes, a B2C and a B2B. We have products for both. So the business to business one is more of a carbon credits, and we haven't even talked about that, but we are tokenizing carbon credits and putting it on chain. We had one big project called the Maple credits, and we tokenized those credits, sold out. It sold out quick. So we're working with other companies who are creating carbon credits in the mining space, using carbon credits, using biochar to repair the damage at old sites, and creating carbon credits by repairing gold mines, and then tokenizing those carbon credits and selling them where the buyers can use the ELMT token. So the buyer has to go into the market, buy a whole bunch of element tokens to then come to us and buy the carbon credits. And so the first project sold out fast. We're working on other projects. The problem with that is that some of these projects take a while because we're trying to stay connected to the mining space. So we want to basically use the carbon credits that are created by repairing the damage done by the mining community. And so those take a little bit longer. So on the but when those deals happen, they're going to be massive because these carbon credit projects are multi-million dollar projects. So these companies are going to have to go into the market, buy that ELMT token, and who do they buy it from? They don't buy it from me, they buy it from you.
From
Anybody
no
running a node
donors.
that has these tokens
From no donors.
from node owners. They buy it from you. And so again, we're always clear that we don't know what the price of the token will be, that it'll ever be worth, blah, blah, blah. But it just stands to reason that if there are people in there that are going to come and buy high quantities of ELMT so they can go buy carbon credits, then this is the place. The other thing that we're working on right now is our product called Earth Mobile. We know that the cell phone is responsible for so many of the problems in the mining because everybody on Earth has a cell phone, and every cell phone has 43 components in it that are mined, including gold, silver, tantalum, cobalt, you name it. And so, because the phone is such a big contributor to the problem, we figured what can we do with a cell phone that would create token utility? And so the product that we're creating called Earth Mobile will allow people to pay a part of their cell phone bill using ELMT. So it's an NFT that you'll buy that NFT, and then that gives you a discount. You turn in your ELMT, we give you a voucher for your cell phone bill, and it's a little complicated because every country and every carrier works a little bit different. We have, in our research, we found that like a gift card, buying a gift card specific to a different carrier, and then you can do a digital gift card with some of them. We just send you the digital gift card. You pay your cell phone bill, and then there's even a rebate program to where you can get some of your element back. And so there was a similar program to that with another brand that had some issues, and we're just trying to make sure we don't have those same issues with our program. But everybody has a cell phone. Everybody would love a discount on that cell phone bill. If we can figure out the mechanics of it, and we're close, then you come in, everybody pays their cell phone bill using ELMT, and you can offset a big chunk of that cell phone bill every month. This way, because we're trying to reach the masses, and if you can tap into a product that everybody has and uses, like a cell phone, and everybody would love a discount on the cell phone bill, that's real token utility. And
And at the
so
same time, they support the cause, right?
exactly. They support the cause. Everything has to turn back. Even like we could be tokenizing a whole bunch of carbon credit projects, but we want the carbon credit projects to be a part of the solution, which is why we're working with projects that are specifically in the mining space using the biochar. And same thing with the cell phone. We want everything to have a tie-in back to our vision and our mission and our purpose. And so the cell phone voucher is what we're going to call it will be huge for us. It'll allow us to really reach the masses and to be able to talk to everybody, people that don't even know what blockchain is, people that don't know anything about. We can say, hey, look, if you want to get a substantial discount on your phone, go into the market, buy this ELMT token, send it to us. You'll get a voucher, and then we'll give you a rebate and some of that element token back. And so we have a battery, which is basically a big supply of the ELMT token, it's several billion that we've set aside specifically to do a project like this. And so between buying gold and silver, carbon credits, cell phone bill, and then the other exciting thing we're building out right now is Guild. Guild is a monthly subscription to buy. You get so the entry subscription is $100. And for that, you're going to get $50 worth of gold and silver, a $50 element product like one of our heirloom NFTs that allows you to create a digital version of watches and rings, and everything's moving toward anything physical you have is going to have its digital counterpart. So we do that. We have what's called the heirloom NFT. We've already sold out our first couple batches, and you're going to get $50 worth of the ELMT token. So think about this: for $100, you get $50 worth of gold and silver, a $50 digital product, and $50 worth of our crypto, our digital reward, our token, ELMT.
which is
And
$150 worth of.
yeah, $150. Yeah, and you're going to get it at today's price. If the token goes up, great, it's worth even more. If gold and silver go up, great, it's going to be worth even more. And these are just ifs. I have no idea whether either of them will go up. But the beautiful thing about that is that if we can get to the masses and there was a company out there called 7K that did something similar. They had about 120,000 people paying the 100, I think theirs was 150 a month. And so ours is a little bit better because we feel like you're going to get more gold and silver for your money and the digital product and the ELMT token. Um, the goal with that is to get obviously over hundreds of thousands of people subscribed, but that $100 a month will eventually have to be paid with ELMT. And so if you can have hundreds of thousands of people going into the market, buying their ELMT and then paying for their gold and silver with ELMT, massive, massive token utility. So as you can see, we're going after where there are a lot of customers to where the potential customer base is billions of people. Because even if you got a tiny fraction of 1% of those people, you're doing a lot of good. There's a lot of people going into the market to buy ELMT so they can pay their cell phone bill, buy gold and silver, pay their subscription to the Guild program, buy carbon credits. And so the more utility that we can create, the better that token is going to do. And the more people that go in and buy it, that puts pressure on that token. And so it's all about utility for us. Without token utility, it's just speculation. And so any sort of price movement in a token that in the market should come from utility, not hype, because
Right.
that's where it'll go up and stay up rather than just somebody getting an influencer to say this is the hot new thing and then the token dives. Because when that token goes down, that's when people get hurt. If the token can go up and stay up and have real utility, then we have a project with longevity. We're solving problems and we're accomplishing all the things that we set out to accomplish when we formed this company.
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate
Yeah,
all the information. As far as I understand, if somebody wants to be part of the solution, not only of the problem, because as I understand from you, all of us, we are part of the problem. If we
yeah,
want to be part of the solution, there are few ways. One is buy a node,
yep,
support the project, and you get rewarded in the token.
yep.
Second thing, you can go and buy the regular token from the market.
That's right.
And the third thing that I understand is like contribute with the community, like spread the word, because there is
That's
a
right.
lot of education to do. A lot of people, they have no clue about what you are talking about, the issue, the real issue with gold mining, and the fact that we are part of that problem because we demand a lot of those things that they are used by mine.
That's
Uh,
exactly right.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I really appreciate. I'm looking forward to see. I really love what you are doing, and
Thank you.
I hope a lot of people are gonna support the mission because it's
I hope
something
so.
huge and very important.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much. And whatever I can do to help get more people in, let's come up with a promotion so that people, can yeah, obviously, you can get nodes from the you can buy nodes with the tokens. And so let's come up with a promotion for anybody that watches this, and let's get them involved.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so
All
much.
right.
I really
Okay.
appreciate that.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Marius. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Thanks, you too. Bye.